Kolter, we want to do something fun with you. So we were talking beforehand about trivia, and you gave us a great point where you said, do some trivia and to see whether or not I'm a good father.
We'll find out. I actually tried to forget it. Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah. Mic
Are we
troubles.
okay?
We
Hello?
should let them know
There
that
we
that's
go.
like that.
Yeah, you should. One of us is going to get electrocuted.
Yeah.
You've heard nothing I've said for the last 45 minutes.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, like, I've tried to forget as many parenting things as I possibly could to just come in here and raw dog it.
Fair.
Yeah.
So we picked a random quiz online from Quizoni.com.
Oh, I mean, these guys are leaders in the field.
Legit. Yeah. No, 10 out of 10. The quiz is simply titled, Are You a Good Father? I'll give you a heads up. It is 29 questions.
All right.
I will read them out to you, and I will give you the options for
Is
the
it multiple
answers.
choice?
I believe so,
Thank
yes.
God.
So we will see if Kolter is, in fact, a good father.
And
Are
before you
ready?
do that, let's annoy the shit out of people one more time with this. Okay, there we go. Every time I hit the table, it does something. So I'm going to keep my hands under my ass.
There we go. All right. Starting with question number 1. Do you spend time with your child every afternoon or evening after work?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Do you go on family adventures on the weekends? You have yes, most weekends, sure, or no?
I feel like it's a binary, right? Do you do things yes, no, or sometimes? What's a family adventure?
I'd say like maybe going to
Define
like
adventure.
it could be going to the park. It could be going to like
I'll take her to dance class.
Yeah,
Okay.
So yeah. Most weekends, sure,
most
yeah.
weekends, sure.
Okay.
There we go.
I'm going to find that I'm a good dad. Fuck.
Do you rely on your partner, if you have one, to do most of the parenting?
I mean, yeah, she's a woman, right? It's a nuanced answer because like things are never going to be equal, but you try to make them equitable. She works from home. My wife works from home a couple of days a week. And so if my daughter is sick in the middle of the day, because my wife is a 15-minute drive away, that falls on her. Whereas I'll do things that are more like scheduled, like doctor's appointments, dentists, like all of the boring shit. And I wouldn't say I rely on her mostly, no. I know people, like I've heard women say they've got to like make a list of things for their husband to do for the week if they're on a trip. Or
It's
like
unfortunately common.
women who will like pack fucking lunches for the week.
Oh,
what do you
yeah,
get on the
like-
plane and forget that you have a What are you doing?
Yeah. It's
What?
embarrassing all
Yeah.
around.
Society's
It's
like you're a
fucking-
shitty mom if you do this. You're a
Yeah.
you're a shitty woman if you do this or that. And the
Yeah.
bar for
It's
men and
infuriating.
dads is just so much lower. Thank God.
Yeah.
So
It's so
I guess the answer
infuriating.
we're going with is no.
No.
Okay. Your teenager goes on a date, first date ever. How do you react? So the first option is excited. It's a huge moment they'll never forget, for better or worse. Second option is I get protective, but I let the situation unfold. It's natural. Third option is I make a scene by asking too many questions or even prevent them from dating again.
You going out wearing that? You get the burlap sack and show respect, goddammit. And then I polish my shotgun. No, like, listen, it's exciting. I know that this isn't necessarily apparent. Very few dates, been on very few dates in my life. My wife and I also met at 18, but like before that, it just wasn't happening for me. Except in the Platinum Fitness parking lot that one
There you
time.
go.
That was fun.
2001 Honda Civic.
But I'm excited. It's fun. I'm excited. But also, I think there are a couple of reminders. Not that I necessarily have to do this because we're going to continue to teach our daughter about autonomy and respect and like all of these things. But like, whatever happens, we'll pick you up. If it goes sour, like call me immediately. Let me know where you're gonna be. I don't need like your location on necessarily, but like go have fun. I mean, it would be nice if like the other person came over, guy or girl, to just say like pick up my gal, pick up my little girl. Be nice.
Yep.
I'm not gonna like interrogate anybody. That's fucking cringe.
Yeah.
Oh, the few first dates that I've had and had to do that. And the
Yeah.
dad's just like, they want to make you feel as uncomfortable as possible.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's smooth brain shit.
Yeah.
I have a question about that though, because I have, there are literally like 9 of my friends right now that are either pregnant or just gave birth. And 6 out of 9 are having girls and 3 are having boys. And one that I've spoken to, one of my best friends, she has a little boy and she's like, the more I think about it, the more relieved I feel about having a boy, because you just have to worry about one dick. You just have to teach him.
I've heard that.
Versus with the girls, one of my friends who just recently gave birth, right before she gave birth, she was quite anxious because she's like, I just don't know how to protect her from this world. I don't know how to, is the conversation around,
Do you mean in terms of like a bunch of like
Men.
dudes taking advantage of her?
Yeah. And like self-defense classes, she's like, do I think about that? Like, she was really spinning out about it. And now that Nia's 3, do you let yourself...
That chick can kick my ass.
But is it a conversation that you guys have had, or are you putting a pin in it, obviously, because she's so young, but are you like, I have come to terms with the fact that this world may.
I'm not acutely worried because I know that we'll continue to raise her to respect herself and respect other people when it's deserved, and to have empathy and to make sure that, like, you know, she's aware of the realities of the world. And also, like, there's the intersection of her being a woman or a girl, but will grow up into be a woman, and also being a Black woman, right? And there's just more expectations, and society at large takes greater advantage of Black women. And so, and also, like, there's also the dynamic of, like, she's also mixed race. So in some situations she might be white passing, in other situations she might not be. And there's so many things to try and teach your kid. But as far as me being worried that she's going to be unprepared when she enters the world as an adult, I don't have a fear whatsoever.
Okay, wonderful.
We're very vulnerable in my house. The focus is on making sure that when my daughter moves out or when she becomes an adult, like, she feels prepared, she feels good, she feels confident, and she feels like if there's ever any doubt, like, you call me. That's the relationship that I want to continue to have with my daughter, where she feels comfortable talking to me about anything.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
That's wonderful.
So I guess for question 4, would we go with I get protective, but I let the situation
Shotgun.
unfold? It's
Yeah,
natural.
shotgun.
Okay. Yeah.
I love how you're trying to you're trying to shove it all into one of the
Just
answers.
trying to bring it
So
all back
that's
together.
C, right?
Question number 5. Your child is being bullied at school. What do you do? Option A. I ask my kid what they want to do about it, brainstorm, and determine a cause and solution. B. I go to the school and ask the principal how he plans, assuming the principal's a man, the principal how they plan to solve the school's problem. Or C. I don't meddle. They can handle it.
So my kid was bitten at daycare.
Wow.
Big bite on her cheek. Second time, same kid. And so
Jeez.
they file an incident report. And here's the thing, like, daycare, I'm not going to be angry at a 3-year-old for biting another 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, why is it being taught at home that that's okay?
Yeah.
Why is that not being extinguished? Like, my daughter, not perfect, but knows, like, not to bite people. You keep your hands to yourself. And, like, that is drilled into this kid.
Yeah.
Was this another girl, by the way?
Another girl, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And so we got the incident report. And then next morning, I handle drop off because of my hours, and my wife handles pickup at the end of the day because of her hours. And I asked the director, of the daycare, I'm like, so what are we doing here? And again, before that, I'm not angry at a kid. I'm not looking for, like, to confront anybody, but, like, how do we make sure this doesn't happen again? Is it a matter of, like, the daycare teachers they're too busy? Do they need more resources? Is this kid having some trouble at home? Is this kid displaying trouble at daycare with other kids? Like, what's going on here?
Right.
There wasn't really a resolution. I don't even know what I expected to get out of that conversation.
Right. But they're just like, kids are going to bite.
Kind of.
Wow.
But with, like, enough legalese that it's like, you can't fucking sue us for that one. No.
Jeez.
But if my kid was being bullied, like, yeah, how do you want to handle it? I mean, there are certain things if, like, some kid is beating the shit out of my daughter, like,
Right.
we're getting involved.
Right.
And also, this is different from, we all grew up in the 90s and early 2000s. Like, you weren't necessarily cyberbullying people back then.
Right.
I think that's pretty common now, right? And, like,
Yeah.
that's another thing you have to watch out for. That it's
Especially
not
for girls.
necessarily... especially for girls, that you're not necessarily being physically harmed, but, like, what is that doing to your mental health? And also, and this is a whole other tangent, but giving, like, 11-year-olds unfettered access to the entire World Wide Web, I don't think that's a good call.
No, I agree.
I don't think that's
agree.
a good, you should need a license to go on the internet. And and there should be, like, a 95% fail rate.
You shouldn't need a license to have a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with that.
You should need a license to leave your home, to just, like, interact with other human beings. And they're like, you're too fucking weird. You're staying inside.
Yeah.
2 more weeks to flatten the curve.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're on quarantine, bitch.
So I guess we're
wow.
going with option A. Ask my kid what they want to do about
Yeah,
it. Brainstorm.
Like, she needs to be part of that discussion
Yeah.
as well, to learn that, like, understand that this is not okay. Your feelings are valid. How do you want to approach this? Because also knowing that, like, sometimes when your parents get involved, that makes it shitty for you at school, right? Because, like, they're like, oh, you're a little bitch. You got to get your dad to come and defend you.
Fair.
Absurd. Wait, I have a question about that, actually.
Yeah.
So my partner, he got into a lot of fights. He was like
You're like a bad boy.
He went to he grew up in a neighborhood in Toronto where there was a lot of gang violence, a lot of fights.
Oshawa?
It wasn't Oshawa.
That's where I grew up and currently live.
Ah, okay. Hey, I was in Oshawa last night.
Poor thing. I can smell it on you.
And so he got into a lot of fights. And there was this one time when he was 13 And there was this gang that had, I don't know, they had caught wind of like a rumor that he, of all people, was saying some shit about this random member who was like 23, who he didn't even know.
Damn.
It was like the cousin of someone at the school who just didn't like him. So he came into school. He was not allowed to be at the school. This 23-year-old gang member, you know
He's
what?
like, no, I'm a freshman.
He comes in. The teacher was so scared, didn't do anything, grabs Jay out of the room, pulls him out,
Damn.
and beats him to a pulp. Like almost died. Like it was very, very bad.
That's
He
nuts.
Struck
Jesus.
absolute fear into Jay for like the next year and a half. He was afraid to walk anywhere. But when he had come home after that, and I still don't know why he didn't do this, but he chose to like make up a story to his parents rather than tell them like what really happened.
Well, 'cause you don't want them getting like the cops involved necessarily. I mean, even though like that might be the right, I don't know, getting the cops involved, but like, oh.
But at the time, the cops should have been involved when it's like a 13-year-old
Sure.
kid
Yeah, absolutely.
and like a gang member who's coming and threatening to kill him because of his cousin or something. And so his parents didn't
Turned out the
end up.
23-year-old was a cop though.
Oh, can you imagine? Yeah.
Plot twist.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, so his parents didn't press charges because he was like, please don't. And
Yeah.
he was like, I'm fine. But the school pressed charges and he went to jail and he actually died. He served a long time in jail and he died.
So happy ending kind of, right? Maybe.
Happy
I don't
ending.
know.
But it makes me wonder, like, if I mean, obviously he was beaten to a pulp. And if your kid comes home and makes up any story that does not track, at what point are you like, even if my kid doesn't want me to do anything about this,
Yeah,
I
like
will.
you need to intervene.
Right, exactly.
This is also like like your brain's not even fully formed until you're 25.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I'm involved.
Right.
I think like and it's hard to find out what that line is. And my daughter's 3, and I hope I don't have to discover what it is. But like
Right.
there are situations. It's nuanced, right? Everything's nuanced. There are situations in which you need to get involved, and there's other situations in which you're like, you're kids and you need to figure it out.
Not with that per se. But
No,
with
my God.
something
No.
less, something with less.
Oh, you almost
egregious.
died at a 23-year-old, huh? Okay, well, I'll figure it out. Kids will be kids, right?
Yeah.
Boys will be boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Question number 6. We'll try to go for like a rapid fire
Yeah,
here.
sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Your child just went through their first major breakup. What advice do you give? Welcome to your first taste of love. It gets easier over time. Hang in there. There's someone out there for you. That's all of option A. B is they didn't deserve you anyway. You can do so much better, and you will. 3 is cry it out, eat some ice cream.
Cry it out, eat some ice cream. And also maybe they were better off without my daughter. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe my daughter at that point is like kind of sucks to be around. Who knows, right?
Who knows? Question number 7. Your teenager has been sneaking out of the house at night. What do? Sit down and ease them into a conversation about family trust and acceptance. Stay up and catch them in the act and ask them what's going on. Or C, confront them out of nowhere and accuse them.
I don't have the energy to stay up late. And like 10 p.m., fuck it. I'm just going to lock the door and they can figure it out. See, you just like honesty. Like this whole like, I'm going to catch my kid or I'm going to accuse my kid. Have a relationship with your kid that they don't feel like they need to sneak out. Or if they do and they fuck up and they make a mistake, that it's not the end of everything.
Right.
Exactly.
You're not going to remove their bedroom door.
Yeah.
Right.
It's also a two-way street, right? Like, I mean, some kids are just fucking terrible. But also, you're the parent. What conditions are you creating that your kid's like, I need to sneak out?
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's so true. That's
Yeah.
so true. Okay. Question number 8. Your child has some interesting, if not downright awful friends. How do you handle it? Try to inspire my child to get them to befriend other types of people and lead by example. Express my concern, but don't impose. Or forbid my child from befriending these people.
No, you can't forbid. They'll just do it anyway. That's why they're sneaking out at night.
There you
Yeah.
go.
And also I don't like this, but I'm not going to do anything about it. Cuck behavior.
Yeah.
So I guess A.
That's 11 times for cuck.
That's
right
11.
There.
We need
That's
a bell,
11.
the cuck meter.
Wait,
right.
so not expressing concern.
I mean,
at
like,
all.
yeah, like, hey, like, what's going on here? Like, I think you always need to lead with, what's your side of the story?
Yeah.
What's going on here? What's going on with these? But to just be like, these kids are fucking shit and I hate them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what's
Then
the
what?
what's the call to action? There needs to be a
Yeah.
call to action with
Yeah,
everything.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
No, that's
Yeah.
fair. Next question. Do you go to your children's school for parent-teacher conferences?
Hasn't happened yet, but like I have a relationship with all my child's daycare teachers. Like I know what's like going on at daycare. And also I feel like it's different than when we grew up. There's an app right now. I mean, I'm sure there's several. I'll get notifications when my kid barks one out, takes a dump. I'll get notifications with what they had for lunch. I'll get pictures throughout the day.
Wow.
And also like I'm dropping her off every morning. And if something's going on, like the bite on the cheek, we'll have a 10-minute conversation about
Yeah.
it.
You really get notification when your kid takes a dump.
I'm not kidding you.
Holy shit.
How does it know?
No, like the teacher has to input it. Yeah.
It has like this
Is there
tracking
like a
system.
motion sensor in the bathroom where it's like, your kid is just taking a
They've
shit?
got AI at daycare. Yeah.
That's wild. There truly
insane.
is
Day
an
eye
app for
care.
everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. I like that. Next question. When there's an issue with your children, do you tend to let your partner handle it? There's 3 options here. There's we handle things together. There's I handle things or my partner does. It depends who's there. And the third option is yes, I let my partner take care of it.
Again, like equity, right? My wife might log more hours with our child throughout the week because having her in the evening before I get home. But also, like, I make sure that Saturday or Sunday mornings, for instance, like, Dominique, sleep in, stay in bed. I got it. Try to balance it out as much as possible. But, like, it's kind of whoever's there, and you have to be a united front. One parent says one thing. That's the answer for both parents, because
Right.
otherwise they'll fucking play you against each other.
Yeah.
You got to hold the line, baby. Union style.
Yeah.
Union style.
So safe to say, do we want to go with option B or option A?
Yeah, like, I mean, if we were home all the time
Yeah.
and fucking, like, we were Siamese twins, but are conjoined twins, but also married.
Yeah.
That's the next level of step sibling porn, okay?
Yeah, stranger
it's
things have
conjoined
happened.
twins that have sex with each other.
Yeah.
So hot. Whoever's there, right?
Yeah.
But we're in contact throughout the day. Like if something
Exactly.
incredibly egregious happens.
Yeah, there you go. Next question. Your child's sports game is happening tonight and you have a deadline for work. What do? I work a little late all week just to make time this evening. I go into work early and get out just in time, or I skip the game. Work is work.
I'm going to try and make it. I got Halloween off this year, and it's difficult because my job, like half the year we're in ratings, so you can't take any time off. But
Right.
my boss was like, "Oh yeah, take Halloween, go trick or treating with your kid." It was the first time this year, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And also,
I love
like,
that.
I don't have one of these jobs that's like we've got these major deadlines. It's like I'm on the air from 3 to 7 Monday to Friday. I got prep that I do beforehand. Sometimes we have like events that are like we take listeners on trips or like take them out to a show and dinner or whatever. And also my kid's not really old enough to have like evening things, right?
Right.
If something happens, like she does dance on Sundays. We had the recital a couple Sundays ago. I'm off on Sundays.
Yeah.
Right.
So you try to get the work done and you try to be there.
Yeah.
Work will always be there. Always. It'll always be there.
Follows you.
Fuck.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of which option would be better to go with. I work a little late all week just to make time this evening, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, 3 to 7.
We used to be 2 to 6, and I guess 3 to 7 makes more sense because people are commuting a little bit later. But
True.
like, and oh my god, when I lived downtown, like I lived a 15-minute walk away from work. So we'd finish at 6. I
man.
was home at 6:15.
Amazing.
Oh my
Now it's
God.
like I got to take the train, and it's like fucking 8:30.
It's a journey.
Okay.
It's a
Yeah.
journey.
Wonderful.
Next question for you. Your child is moving out. They're older, wiser, and ready to move across the country for a promising job.
I'm gonna listen. I moved to Dubai. My wife and I moved. We moved from the GTA to basically Alaska, northern British Columbia, for my first job in radio.
What?
I was working at an
Wow.
AM country station that played
Wow.
a ton of like Bible shit as well.
Wow.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Focus on the Family or Back
Yes,
to the
I
Bible.
have.
They would play that, and they had 5 hours of church that would air on Sundays.
Oh my God.
Wild.
Oh my God.
And then she got a job offer in Dubai, and so we went to Dubai for a couple of years. And my family really fought us on that. They had like a lot of concerns. So if my daughter wants to move away, I'm going to give her tons of shit about it and not let her do it. So obviously, no, I mean like, do your thing, and also I'm going to make sure that she's prepared to. She's going to have the maturity to do that.
The question is here, how well do you adjust to an empty nest? So the options are slowly, I cry a lot, but I call or text every week and I eventually accept it. Option B is I get depressed, but I eventually handle it. And option C is I wave and slam the door behind them. I love them, but hey, I have freedom again.
Listen, the freedom's nice. And like, even now as she gets older and like she can occupy herself for like 45 minutes to an hour, she wants to color, whatever. It's nice to be able to like shit in peace.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of a gift. It'll be nice to have the freedom. It'll, at that point, like, keep in mind, when she moves out, it'll be like anywhere between 18 and 22 or something like that.
Right.
Depending on the economy. And it'll be weird. It would be like anyone leaving your house after that long. So I guess like, what was option A?
Option A was slowly, I cry a lot, but I call or text every week and I eventually accept it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think I fit any of those. I wouldn't fall into a like deep depression.
Right.
I mean, I'm already in one, so would it get any worse? I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm sure I would cry and just be like, oh, I miss Nia, and like
Yeah.
she's not here, and I guess we'll go with A.
Alrighty, next question. How much time is too much time spent with your children? Option A is I try to balance it, a few hours doing my thing and then meet up for dinner and errands. Option B is I try to spend as much time as I can with my children, but they do their own thing a lot. And option C is I don't really demand time with them. I just hang out, and if they want to join me, they do.
Again, she's so little, right? She needs
Yeah.
more than like when she's 13 or 14, it's going to be a different story, right? You finally have a little bit of freedom. You can like hang at the mall or fucking do fentanyl. I don't know. I love spending time with my daughter, but being a parent is not my entire personality. I need some, and even if it is your entire personality, be honest with yourself. You're a better parent when you've got a bit of a break.
For sure.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I love spending the morning with my daughter. We have breakfast together, whether it's we make pancakes together. She mixes the batter or we have whatever. And then I drive her to daycare. And then on the weekends, like we try to split it up so that my wife and I are giving each other a couple of hours to like come and do this, for instance, or to work on something, or to just like fucking chill or whatever. Yeah. Sometimes it's nice to go to Costco alone.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm just going to stay here for 7 hours.
Yeah.
I
Like a
think.
solo Costco trip just to sit
Right.
in one of the aisles.
I'm going to have
Yeah.
5 hot
Reflect.
dogs today. And not even at once, like periodically.
And
just
the
get the
sound of
glazzies
other
into you.
screaming
Yeah.
children.
That's it.
Is music to your ears. 'Cause
Not
it's
mine.
Not yours. Yeah.
Sometimes I'll have so much peace and quiet that for a moment I'll forget that I'm a father. That's a fucking weird feeling. And I only realize I forget because I go, oh fuck, I have a kid.
Yeah.
But my parents take my daughter once a week, which is amazing. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
nice to like recharge sometimes.
Totally.
Definitely.
Totally.
Love that she loves spending time with me. I hope she always wants to spend time with me.
Yeah.
But she also I love the independence. I love that she can do her own thing.
Yeah.
And I love that I don't have to put her in front of a movie all the time.
Yeah.
Like that's nice.
Yeah.
I'm not a parent. I'm a dog parent, which is not
That's
really
the same
a parent,
thing.
but
I know it is the same thing. 100%.
amazing. Okay, so then I'm
Wait,
absolutely a
I
parent,
was like,
100%. As Kolter cuts me off and says no, but I'm gonna live in that moment. But yeah, no, it's funny because like if my dog is if Kelsey is going somewhere and takes the dog with her, if I'm home alone, I'll just sit there for a moment. I'll be like, whoa,
It's quiet.
It's quiet in here. I kind of like it.
Finally
you
jerk
know?
off with the door open.
Yeah.
You know? You got a kid,
The
you got to lock
freedom.
that shit.
The freedom. Do your children often feel embarrassed by you? There's never,
No,
rarely,
that's
and
the worst.
always.
No, never.
Good.
Our line is, you're not bad, you made a bad decision.
Okay.
There's no she's also 3.
Yeah.
And even like regardless of what your kid's age is, humiliating your child, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's the worst
Yeah.
behavior.
Think about when you get humiliated as an adult. It sucks. And to
Sucks.
have it done by and hey, as adults, it sometimes happens by family members.
Oh, yeah.
But like you are God to this child.
Yeah.
And you're embarrassing them.
yeah.
Why is your kid
Soul-crushing.
sneaking out at night?
Yeah.
Why is your kid doing all this shit that you don't want them to do? It's because you're humiliating them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids are going to make mistakes. You need to be there. You need to there need to be consequences. Like this is not okay behavior, but also like you fucked up, you made a bad decision. There's going to be a consequence. First off, I love you no matter what.
Right.
But don't embarrass your kids. Yeah, never. I can answer that with confidence.
There you go. Perfect.
Totally.
Next question. Do you spoil your children? No, sometimes, or always?
I put Smarties in her pancakes today.
So
I know.
That is
would that
wonderful.
classify as always? Or
No, because
sometimes?
like I hate giving her sugar because like just bounces. I'll give her sugar if she's going to daycare or like someone else's house.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, you fed her chocolatey pancakes and then
It's like shaking a
dipped
can of
to
Coke
come
and then
here.
throwing it to somebody, right? There you go. Have fun.
You left her to come
Yeah.
here too, like
I mean,
high in sugar.
what's spoiling, right? Some people would say like hugging your kid all the time is spoiling them
Yeah.
or whatever. Like I'm not giving her Halloween candy every morning, but this morning, I give her a little bit of Halloween candy.
We'll
It's
go
her
with
candy.
We'll
Yeah.
go with sometimes.
Sure.
Okay. Next question. Do any or all of your children have a tablet, laptop, desktop, smartphone, and maybe even a gaming console?
Oh, this is a conversation. This is what my wife and I are talking about on the podcast we're releasing later today is the tablet debate. She's 3.5. I'm like, no, I don't want her to have a tablet. Getting back to my unfettered access to the internet
Yeah.
rule. But also I need to realize that in the year of our Lord, 2023, soon to be 2024, a reality is you will need to have these skills. And is it much different from me putting her on my laptop for 45 minutes to an hour so she can watch Dora or Little Einsteins or whatever the fuck she likes to watch? I think a good compromise is you can have some sort of like Leapfrog or VTech or whatever.
Yeah, those are great.
Like a kid laptop
Yeah.
where it
Yeah.
doesn't have, maybe it has internet access and you can set what it has access to.
Right.
Again, it's like giving your kid a cell phone. You watch anything on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything.
Options
I think
are
of the
endless.
garbage I watch on there. It's
Yeah.
not healthy.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
So like, yeah, I think a tablet's okay, but I think there need to be limits on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Not
And
just in screen time, but also the access.
And you guys were talking about getting like a cheap tablets and then
Oh, I'm not, what am I blowing fucking 900 on an iPad? Hey
yeah.
kid, here's an OLED screen. OLED, whatever the fuck it's called, OLED.
right. And the case, if it could be made of food,
Yes,
I remember you guys
if we
talking
could just
about that.
if we could eat the case, and then
Yeah.
it just keeps her occupied, right? Like coated in nerds or something like that.
Oh my
right?
God,
Or like
I
Hubba
would
Bubba,
want-
and she
I
can
would
just take a
want
bite
that.
and chew.
I would love that.
I would love that. That
Nerds?
sounds right up my alley.
Let's go.
So, yeah.
That would be
Clearly,
great.
I'm so delusional from parenting that I'm like, we haven't released that one yet, and she's like, no, you did last week. I watched it.
Yeah, I watched
I was
it.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like an iPad that also has a case that's made of food.
Right.
Two birds, one
incredible.
stone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Make
No,
it out of
seriously.
cheeseburgers or
Yeah.
something.
Oh my God. Oh, jeez, now I'm hungry.
I'm so hungry now.
Yeah, I saw Whataburger downstairs. I'm like, I texted you about this earlier. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's my treat after this.
Yeah.
Next question. There's 3 options here. Do you ground your kids? The first option is yes, but only over serious stuff. Otherwise, I just try to instill advice and feedback. And the second one is yes, I ground them. Third one is I never ground them.
I haven't really been there yet. I mean,
Yeah.
I try not to use the like go to your room as a punishment
Right.
because then it's like, then I need to go and take all the fun stuff out of your room.
Right.
And also, her favorite thing are books.
Oh,
so like,
that's
what am I?
wonderful.
I'm going
I
to take all
love
the
that.
books out of your room, like, and I've had to do it before because it's like, no, there are consequences.
Right.
I'm telling you not to do something. I'm telling you not to hit me, and you're hitting me.
Right.
I'm taking the stuff out of your room, and I'm putting you in your room for your own protection. If you're hitting me, you might end up hurting yourself because clearly I'm made of bricks. So the rule of thumb is like a timeout is the kid's age in minutes, and then I multiply it by
Oh.
20.
Okay.
You're 3.5. Your timeout is 3.5 minutes.
Right.
And then we try this again. But you also have to, and I don't always do a great job at this. When you're disciplining your child, you almost have to be a robot. You can't go in with tons of emotion because then you're going to say something you regret. Or you're going to levy a punishment that you actually can't end up doing.
Right.
Right.
No movie today, and it's like, I really actually need you to watch something for 90 minutes so I can
Yeah.
fucking clean the bathroom or something,
Yeah.
right? Like, I want to take
Yeah.
that away.
Yeah.
So I haven't grounded yet, but I mean, listen, sometimes you have to take shit away, I guess.
Yeah.
Does she already know how to read?
She can read she can read her name, she can write her name, she can write mommy, daddy, and a few other words. But I'll read a book to her so many times that she will sit there and she's just memorized it.
Wow.
And it's fucking
Smart
weird.
gal.
You're like, she's nailing 98% of the words. And for a second, you're like, can she actually read? And it's like, no, you've just read this PJ Masks Ninjalinos book 700 times. And there's 7 words in the book. She's got it nailed.
Yeah. Holy
That's
shit.
amazing.
But loves reading and she really loves drawing. Always wants to
Wow.
color.
That's incredible.
Yeah. No,
I
she's
love
a
how you're
beautiful
like,
kid.
I love how you're like, I need to take away books, so I guess your punishment is screens only.
Yeah. You're only watching a movie. Have
Yeah.
fun with 9 hours of Netflix,
Yeah,
idiot.
Loser.
Sucks to suck.
Next question. Your kid comes home with a new pet. They didn't ask first. What do? You
I'm
have them,
drowning it in the sink.
How do you even pull that off?
you have them pay for everything and care for it. I have them care for it, or else it becomes my pet, or I give it away.
I mean, but what is giving, like, what kind of pet, right? It's going to be different if she brings home a fish. Like, if school was giving away fish, I don't know when the fuck that would
Let's
happen.
say-
but
Yeah.
it was
Like,
fish
it's
day
like
at
a-
school.
yeah.
Let's say
like
she
a
comes
school
home with
fair.
like a little parakeet, like a little budgie.
A fucking bird? A
Let's say
bird
it's
is
a
a
bird.
gift you give to people you hate. There's no
I don't
bird
know.
in
I
this
was gonna
house.
go with dog, but I feel like that's so like typical.
Okay,
I'd
how about
rather-
hamster? I feel like that's a nice in
no,
between.
no. Fucking parakeet? I would rather tie my foreskin in a knot than have a bird in my home. What?
What about hamster?
Not a hamster either.
No?
She is a beta fish that the guy at the store told me, he's like, these things last like 2 weeks. So get your story ready when the thing inevitably dies.
Right.
It's been 18 fucking months. Take it back.
outlived-
We're not even
outlived
feeding it
everything.
anymore.
Well, if
Yeah.
she brings home another fish, stick it in the same tank with the beta fish, and the beta
Just
fish
kill
will,
each
will
other.
immediately kill it.
2 problems solved.
Yeah. The beta fish will kill anything that you stick in.
Another animal is not entering my home.
Yeah.
Fair.
This whole like you're paying for everything. First off, with what money?
Yeah.
Right.
And also like no, because we want to go out and suddenly we can't because like we can't go away for the weekend because we got the fucking dog at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So
no.
safe to say,
Yeah.
are we going with give it away?
We're giving away the pet.
All right.
And also we're having a very long conversation about like why you're not bringing a pet into my
Yeah,
home.
exactly. You cannot
Entirely
force my
understandable.
What are we
hand.
doing here?
Yeah.
No one asked for
No.
this.
Yeah.
Okay, your child's report card is awful. What do you do? Tutor my child or get them a tutor? Ask them what's going on and offer them a present if they do better, or ground them?
The grounding thing, I've been there. I would bring home shitty report cards and I would get grounded and I just felt awful about it. The present for getting good grades, some kids in my class, they'd be like, I got $100 because I got all A's. Bribing and punishment usually don't work. Why is it a shock that your kid's report card sucks? Why are you not looking at the homework? Why are you not looking at the test scores? Why do you not have an awareness of what's going on at school.
Yeah.
Right.
If daycare does it, I guarantee you your kid's elementary school does it as well. You probably get a calendar emailed to you every month, print it, put it on the fridge.
Yeah.
Hey, you've got a science test coming up next week. You prepared for it?
Yeah.
If you are, great. If you're not, let's do some work on this together.
Yeah.
And maybe you need a tutor or some Vyvanse. This is just a Vyvanse commercial.
Yeah. Actually,
This episode is sponsored by
Brought to you by
Vyvanse.
Vyvanse.
Oh yeah, Vyvanse, please sponsor us.
Brought to you by forgetting to eat for 9 hours.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, tell me about it.
That actually leads me to a question unrelated, but related to a previous question where what if you found out that Nia like was the bully at school and you're like, I
The wiser slow clap.
you know how you're like, oh, you should be keeping track of how your kid's doing at school. I feel like there's so many parents of bullies who are like, my kid would never do that. And it's like, how do you not?
How much attention are you paying to your kid?
Yeah.
If your kid has bullying, like sociopathic tendencies at home, they've got them at school.
Yeah.
And vice
oh,
versa.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're going to be able to tell. And also, like, when your kid has friends over, which fucking don't, Nia, please don't have kids over. You go to their house, okay? I don't need you guys tying up the bathroom. I know we have 2, but like one's just for pooping. And you should know who your kids' friends are. And you're going to be able to tell based on how your kid is talking to their friends what the general vibe of the group is. Are they mean girls? You'll be able to tell pretty quickly. Are they mean boys? You'll be able to tell pretty quickly because they'll be keying your fucking car.
But then what?
12.
Then what? So you find that out, but you don't want to say like, I don't approve of your friends. So then what? Hypothetically, what are the next steps? If say they're not, say Nia's only verbally a bully.
I mean, that's still shitty, right?
No, definitely. Like, I mean, I feel like if it's physical, you have to take other measures as
What's
well.
that cringe expression? Hurt people, hurt people. If your
Yeah.
kid's bullying something, it's because something's not going right at home. It's like the douchebag at the office. It's just, or these like alpha bros, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The reason that you're being shitty to other people is because you actually have no confidence. I can think of the times in my life where I've been like, we've all been shitty to other people. We've all been bullies in some version of the word.
Right.
What's going on in your life that you're bullying people? Because if things are really good for you, you don't really give a fuck about other people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When I say that, I mean, you don't really give a fuck about needing to control other people.
Yeah.
And that's what
Right.
bullying is.
Yeah.
I don't feel in control of my life enough. I need to control other people. And so if your kid feels like they have an appropriate amount of freedom, if your kid feels like they can come to you with problems, if your kid is getting everything they need and you're trying to give them everything they need, your kid's not going to be, and exceptions to every case, your kid's likely not going to be bullying anybody
Yeah.
because they got enough shit going on.
It's very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Right?
Very true.
That's a
Yeah.
good point.
This is an interesting question. Do you have family traditions? Not sure if that classifies
does
how you're
that-
if
yeah,
you're a
if
good
you're
father
good
or
or
not.
not.
That's why I think it's such an interesting question. But
It's interesting. And we do talk about this on our upcoming podcast.
amazing.
Okay. You're like, well, we'll find out about that, dude. Maybe that was a couple episodes ago.
I'm the resident fact checker.
On the upcoming episode of Playing House, my wife and I talk about how, as new-ish parents, we're trying to come up with our own traditions for our daughter and how our parents aren't exactly accepting of this, where the expectation has always been, well, no, you're our kid. You're going to come and see us on Christmas. And then it's like, well, like, and Dominique and I have been together for almost 14 years now. It's like, well, I got like another person I'm doing stuff with. So like we have 2 families now. And maybe we can make it both on the same day. Maybe we can't. Last year we tried something where we went out for brunch on Christmas to one of the 2 fucking restaurants that were open. Shout out to Rumoridia for having a list of ones that were open, by the way.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. Shout out
Thanks, John.
Rumoredia.
And it went okay, but there was definitely a lot of disappointment. And as much as you want to be like, on principle, I get to do my own things. Christmas is about giving. Christmas is about your kids. What does my daughter want to do? Well, she would love to see both sets of grandparents on Christmas. She'd love to see the cousins. She'd love to see everybody. She wants that. And so like this year, as much as I hate to be driving 2 hours on Christmas Day all over Hell's Half Acre, it's going to make my daughter happy. It's going to make my parents happy. It's going to make my in-laws happy. It's going to make my wife happy. And I'm going to be happy that everyone's happy.
Right.
Right.
So when it comes to traditions, I guess around Christmas, like driving 2 hours. I guess that's my family tradition. But stuff like, I mean, the definition of tradition, depending on how loose it is, like I like my daughter being in an activity. I don't want to do the 15 activities every single week where you've got dance on Monday and you've got soccer on this day and you've got whatever.
Right.
We do one activity at a time so that she can like really get into it. So like it's been dance. It'll be dance next quarter. During the summer, it's usually like an outdoor thing like soccer. In the winter, sometimes it's skating. And that's typically like Saturday mornings or Sunday mornings. So that becomes a tradition. With my daughter, every morning is having breakfast together. And then we get in the car and she wants to split a Quest protein bar with me. And I'm like, honey, those are $3 a bar.
Yeah.
And You get pretty backed up when you have them, so I don't know about that. And then every night, like the tradition would be like, I come home and she's usually done bath time, or if they're about to start, I'll say to my wife, like, you fucking chill, I got bath time. And then I read my daughter a story every night. She reads to me, and then we sing a couple of songs. She sings me a song, and
Aw.
That's really
she
cute.
goes, now
really
I'm the mommy and
sweet.
you're the baby. And I'm like, okay, can you rub my head for a few minutes? And she goes, okay. And I'm just there and she's rubbing my head and singing to me. And I'm like, I get it now. This is delightful.
That's amazing.
Wow.
So yeah, I guess we do have traditions in that sense. And also like, it's been really cool seeing my wife get to teach our daughter some of her family tradition. And really like my mother-in-law immigrated, both of my wife's parents immigrated from Grenada in the 1980s. So like really showing my daughter, giving my daughter appreciation for Caribbean culture, and like took her to Kitty's Carnival in the city this summer, which was a lot of fun.
Nice.
We went as a family. It was a great time. And most of us had heat exhaustion, and I used all the sunscreen. I was like, listen, ladies, I need this more than you do.
Yeah.
Nia gets a bit, I need the rest. Okay,
Yeah.
Dom, you'll be fine.
The bleach pens.
Exactly, right? Yeah. And as a proud napkin American,
Yeah.
and my daughter is a proud half napkin American.
Half American.
Half napkin. And that's another thing, like trying to teach our daughter that you're not half white and half black. You are black and you are also white. Like it's
Right.
not a half this, half that. And it's important. So she'll say, I'm black like my mommy and I'm white like my daddy. And that's important as well. So I guess starting a new tradition of when my wife and I are the same age, I'm 6 weeks older. So
Wow.
I get the top bunk. And so not really being able to be super proud when she was a kid of her heritage to now really be proud of that and to really instill that in our daughter is amazing. And so to see her experience like some things that my family does and some things that my wife's family does, like it's just really cool. And I'm so happy that she gets to experience both of those. And I'm happy that I get to experience both of those as well. And that I finally get to eat seasoned food sometimes.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Oh my God, flavor. Where's that been my whole
This
life?
tastes
This is
amazing.
great. You have more than salt and pepper? Amazing.
What is this?
What?
This one's a pretty simple question, but I'm going to read you the two options here because the second one is quite funny to me. The question is, do you know when to give your children space? And the first option is yes. The second option is, I give them all the space a lot. I'm not really with them ever.
I'm actually living in space right now.
Yeah.
I'm Chris Hadfield. I'm commander of the ISS. We've really taught her that, and this has actually been good for the two of us. And this is like $30,000 worth of therapy. Thanks, Green Shield, because of current employer. You are not in control of your emotions, but you can be in control of your behavior. You can't help how you feel, but you can control what happens next.
Right.
And so she's good at saying, I'm frustrated right now. If she starts acting up, what's wrong? I'm frustrated. Why? And sometimes she can explain why, sometimes she can't. But she's been really good about saying, I need some time alone. I need some privacy.
Wow. Good for
Yeah.
her. Good for
I'm
her.
like, take as much fucking privacy as you want, bro.
Yeah.
And part of that is like, hey, Nia, I'm taking a shit right now. Can I have some privacy? Please close the door. I'm going to lock it. Should have done that in the first place. And she's really good about knowing when. And I think my wife and I are a lot better now at just intuiting when, okay, you're having a hard day. Maybe you napped well, maybe you didn't. We can color for a few minutes. I can leave if you want. Like for her to know that she doesn't need to be with us 24/7, I think is good.
Definitely.
Amazing.
It's a break for all of us. And also, like, as an adult, me going, I need some time alone right now.
Yeah.
I need 20 minutes on the treadmill. I need to, like, if I got enough time, like, I need to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Right.
Yesterday, we got back from Costco, and it had been just like a wall-to-wall day. And I got a piece of pizza, and I was like, I got home and I said, the three of us went to Costco. Can you give me 20 minutes to just eat alone in the basement? And my wife was like, that's really sad. And I'm like, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to feel way better afterwards. But me and this slice of pepperoni I got for $2.59, tax included. It's us in the basement for a few minutes.
Yeah.
I'll see you in a couple when I emerge.
Yeah.
Like a submarine surfacing. You know?
And it did the trick?
It did the trick.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Good.
Just sometimes all you need is 20 minutes and a couple Tylenol and a glass of water. That
Yeah.
trifecta
Yeah.
and food.
Perfect.
That quad.
Yeah.
That's so true.
I feel
all you
like
need.
Greg on Succession. He's like, "Hey guys, do you want to create a quad?" Have you watched that yet?
No, not yet.
You'll get there.
Oh, yeah.
I
watch
will.
Succession,
In 12
geez.
years.
Yeah.
In 12 years. No, I will.
yeah.
I will. I'll watch it.
Can't make a
soon.
Tomlet without breaking a couple of Gregs.
Exactly. What a great show.
Yeah, great show. We're almost done here. Your teenager is in the awkward stage where they change styles weekly. Do you laugh at them?
No. And also,
Yeah.
I feel like I change styles all the time.
Oh,
Shaved
yeah.
my head, hair came back, got cancer, shaved my head again, hair came back. And then I was like, over the summer this year, I'm gonna fucking shave it again. Zaddy vibes. And then September rolled around and I was like, it's getting cold, man. I need a permanent hat.
protection.
I'm still trying to figure out what a zaddy is.
It's like, do you actually not know?
I think I know, but I don't think it's right.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna fix this mic one more time. They need new wire. This room is gorgeous. Maybe we spend more than $7 on a cable.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair.
Yeah.
What's a zaddy? It started when people would say like daddy, but then when they would go, they would kind of have some vocal fry and like
Zaddy.
lazy.
Yeah.
Zaddy.
Zaddy.
But a
Yeah.
like a zaddy's a vibe, right? It's kind of like Riz. You either have it or you don't.
We just talked
Okay,
about Riz.
we were
last
talking
Word of the
podcast.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. That kind of answers my question, but I am also still a little confused, but it's probably for the best.
Like some might even say like Pete Davidson, the Riz King, but they might call him a zaddy, even though a zaddy you would imagine like is kind of like a little beefier, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit older, maybe has some facial hair.
Oh,
unlike me.
David Hopper from Stranger
He-
Things.
he would be a
is
zaddy. He
might say a
fully
zaddy.
considered a zaddy.
But also like a zaddy is not a particular body type necessarily.
True.
Although he did like, he leaned out over the years. But
He did, yeah.
Like a zaddy's just a vibe.
And is it spelled Zaddy? Is it a
correct.
D at the beginning that's
no, it's
silent? Like
Zaddy.
Zaddy.
I think you're overthinking
You know,
it.
like Django. Like Django and Zaddy Unchained.
Daddy Unchanged is a zaddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, zaddy is a way of life.
When your children need help with homework or household tools, are you always there to teach them? Yes, most of the time, or never?
If I'm there, I mean, if I'm not there, I can't teach you how to do something.
Right.
But like, yeah, if you need help with something, 100%. And it's difficult sometimes. We don't necessarily have all the patience when it's been a long fucking day and your child wants you to teach them how to do something and they're not listening. And like that can be frustrating. But
Right.
you have to show up for your kids. And again, some of that is like, hey, I'd love to, but I need 20 minutes to eat some pizza.
Pizza in the basement.
I need
yeah,
that. I need that slice of pepperoni in the basement.
Right? Like
Yeah.
time with your kids is great. Intentional time with your kids is ideal.
Yeah, totally.
Because you can spend time with your kids and it's just like it's fucking shitty and you're just running errands all day.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to do that, especially if it's a single parent household. Maybe you don't have childcare. Like
Yeah.
it just is what it is sometimes.
Yeah.
But try to be as intentional with your kid as possible. Try to have fun with your kid. That's another thing.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes easy to forget, but like you've made this human and you're just yelling at this human all the time because this human's not conforming to exactly what you wanted. This kid didn't ask to be here.
Right.
But the kid is here.
scrolling on your phone while they're doing other things.
And I do that sometimes too, and I'll catch myself and go, you can fucking, what are you even looking at?
Yeah.
You're on the news tab on Reddit, and you're just like, Orange Man did what? Fuck, I'm so
Yeah.
pissed off about something I have no control over. And then I have this little kid that's like, Daddy, can you put down your phone? And it's like, fuck yeah, it's absolutely.
Yeah.
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 It's like when we were growing up and you were like, hey, can you not fucking smoke in the kitchen, Mom? Can you maybe roll down the windows on the minivan when you're hacking a dart?
Oh no.
I know it's cold outside, but the Windstar has power windows.
But we're gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
We'll die
I
an
don't
early
know.
death.
I don't know if you'll be able to answer this one just because she's 3. The question being, do your children complain that you never answer the phone? So I don't.
Do
really
people
know.
actually, are kids complaining about that? I feel like, okay, if you've got a teenager and you had a kid around like 25 or 30,
Yeah.
you'd be Gen X. Maybe Gen X is just not addicted to their phones as much as millennials and Gen Z are.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess.
I feel like I was like growing up. I was never upset at my parents for not answering the phone. I just assumed that they were doing other shit at the time. Like it is what it is.
But also, if you're a parent who's not answering their children's calls, I feel like that's something to
If
unpack.
I'm my parents like 3 times in a row and they're not answering, then
Yeah.
maybe we're
That's
gonna
a
have a
little
problem.
concern.
Yeah,
But if I call
yeah.
them once and they don't answer, it's not gonna end my life.
For sure,
you
because
know?
they'll probably return it at some
Yeah.
point.
My
Yeah,
phone is fucking fused to my body at all times. I never have the ringer on, but it's always on vibrate.
Yeah,
and I
same.
only get push notifications for texts, WhatsApp, and phone calls and daycare. That's it.
Oh, that's great.
No DMs, none of that.
No
Because it's
social
like,
media.
and I'll answer my wife immediately if she texts,
Mm-hmm.
my daughter eventually as well. But like otherwise, if I'm in the middle of something, I gotta put the Vyvanse to work and I gotta do my shit.
Yes.
But like, yeah, my daughter, 100% I'm gonna pick up the phone.
Yeah.
I feel like I know the answer to this one. Do you support your children's hobbies?
Absolutely not. They are annoying and costly. Of course, whatever you're into. And I said this earlier, like, I don't want to do 9 things in a week because no one's having fun. That was kind of like what it was like in my house growing up. My sister was in hockey 2 or 3 nights a week. I did hockey, I guess, 1 night a week. I was in dance class for a couple of years.
Nice.
'Cause I was like,
what genres?
it was hip hop dance class.
Hey, me too. That's
Yeah.
sick. Yeah.
Okay. I clearly retained nothing. Or they did such a shitty fucking job teaching that I retained everything, and it was the opposite of what they should have been teaching.
Yeah.
So absolutely, I think it's good to give your kids some time to focus on one or two things, especially like as homework becomes a thing, especially as like you need to be well-rounded. I think it's good to have a physical activity. I think that's very important. Kids are like in class all day, and like you need to get moving, right?
Yeah.
And this gets into a larger conversation about like, you see more overweight and obese kids. And this isn't me fat shaming. It's just like, that's you need to teach your kids healthy habits.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time it's because parents aren't very active, and it's because we're on our phones all the time, or
Right.
we're working 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
Not for current companies. And it's good to be physical. Out of context, this sounds terrible, so I'm going to reword this. It's good to do physical activity alongside your kids.
Yes.
Right? Take them to the park. Find a sport that maybe the two of you like doing. A kid's going to fucking suck at it because they're little, but we suck at everything we try for the first time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, exactly.
I'm looking forward to like learning how to do things as my child learns them. Really looking forward to relearning French.
Yeah.
Once my daughter starts in school and they've got French classes,
Yeah.
or like always wanted to learn the piano, maybe we take classes together.
Love
Playing
That would
chopsticks together. Come on.
That'd be so sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I was really into films, like actual film prints. So when I was in high school, I collected 16 millimeter. This is clearly why I didn't lose my virginity until I was 18. But I had 16 and 35 millimeter prints of movies, like theatrical prints. And I was super into this. And my parents, they were running a restaurant. They were just busy all the time. And I felt like they were more invested maybe in what my sister was doing because they maybe understood it a little bit more. She was in hockey. It was rep hockey. It was a lot of money. And so I felt like that my hobby wasn't as interesting to them. But then I remember like my dad drove me to Rochester, New York one time, which is not super far from Toronto, but it was a terrible snowstorm. And I bought this projector off of a guy on, I guess, whatever the Facebook marketplace of 2006 was. And it was an 8-hour drive that day round trip. And that dude fucking drove me across the border. We bought this thing. We took it back. So like in that way, he 100% supported it. I wish that maybe they took more of an active interest in it. And that's what that's what I will try to remember to do with my child. It's like anything, right? I'm sure my kid will look back one day and just go like, my dad was kind of a fucking inattentive parent. Like, you know, I was really into like furry con and just didn't support it.
Always comes back to furries.
Kind of an
somehow.
asshole.
Yeah. My mom was a single parent, and I have a twin sister.
Sure.
So it was a lot for her to,
Especially you.
especially me. No Vyvanse
Yeah.
yet. No Ritalin yet.
She's putting lithium in the water.
Yeah,
She's calling the
legit.
water company and going like, hey, where do you have the most lead concentration? Will you sell me a couple of jugs?
Yeah. And we also grew up, we did not have much money. We were like homeless at times.
Jesus
it was
Christ.
quite bad. It was quite bad.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it's who I am now. It's kind of like a
Homeless still?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, thank goodness.
This whole podcast is just getting one of us to adopt her.
So anyway, it was like a tumultuous childhood, but there was a point leading up to when
How many kids total in the house? The two?
just the two of us.
Just.
Yeah.
And aside from even being twins, just like you've got two kids that are the same age. It's not like you've got a 12-year-old and a 6-year-old, and the 12-year-old can like babysit sometimes. It's like, no. You're like at the exact same level.
Yeah. And starting from the age of 3 onwards. So she really had her work cut out for her. But before we got to like the homeless point where it had kind of been the catalyst for how our lives are now, which is much better. My mom put us in as many things as possible because she was so aware of the possibility of us getting into bad shit because she could only give so much of her attention to us.
Well, she's probably working multiple jobs.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And then there were 2 of us, and we were a fucking handful. Drove away every babysitter in the city. It was nuts. And so I asked my mom way later on, being like, for all intents and purposes, given the way we grew up, for the most part, we should be more fucked up than we are. And I'm wondering if you, Mom, have any, like, is there any trick or anything that you were consciously doing to try to prevent that? And she's like, I kept you busy. Like any day camp or sleepaway camp, or like we did swimming. We tried all of it.
I know you know this now. That's money.
I know.
Like, especially when you don't have a lot. Like that's mom like working her fucking ass off.
Oh yeah.
Like not only to just keep you busy, but also to show you that like this isn't it. Like it might kind of suck at home sometimes, but like you have options, meet other people, be inspired, and hopefully you will find a couple of rich friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's only occurring to me right now that that's probably the reason she was also the coach of our soccer team and our baseball team.
Because it was a way to get you like a subsidized subsidized fee, I guess.
Yeah. So she did whatever she could. And and when I have kids, I think I'm not gonna like totally burn them out. But I've never forgotten that she said that, where I'm like, yeah, I do have a lot of things that kept me busy and a lot of passions that I pursued because I was opened up to so many things.
Totally.
And I didn't have the time really to get into the bad side and like drop out of school or whatever, which was kind of what kids at that time at that school were doing who were not as busy.
Yeah.
And it's not just down to one thing, not, you know, like
No, it's nuanced.
It's nuanced for sure that those kids who got into that, of course, they have their own comprehensive history. Anyway, I wanted to say that and I don't know why. What was the reason we started talking
My
about
wife grew up single mom. Shout out Denise. Greatest to have done it. And well, I guess tied with my mom. Let's fucking, you gotta support the home team as well, right? But 4 girls. My mother-in-law's raising them all. 3 jobs at one point.
Wow.
And didn't necessarily have the cash to put all 4 girls in stuff at the same time. And so my wife, I think because of that, and I'm sure you can relate to this, you have to become a lot more self-sufficient because
certainly.
you're on your own a lot.
Oh, yes.
You're trying to make the best of what you have, trying to make the most of what you have. My wife was in a ton of extracurriculars as well. And I think one of the reasons was if you're doing it at school, there's not necessarily a fee attached to it. My parents, like I said, ran a restaurant. And we lived at that restaurant.
Yeah.
They would pick us up after school or like maybe send one of the bartenders to pick us up. And we would just secondhand smoke at the bar all night. My parents owned the Eastside Mario's, which was great. And I had tits at 11. I put on so much weight eating because I would just have like full ass like adult portions of like the chocolate eruption cheesecake and like a big thing of Cappelletti.
Yeah. Oh, I loved the Cappelletti. It was so fucking good.
My sister and I would just like chill in the office sometimes, like, and just play on the computer, bring a Nintendo 64 or whatever. Wow. And so we became kind of self-sufficient in that respect at entertaining ourselves.
I'm curious, actually, now that you've mentioned yours and Dom's upbringing or childhood, do either of you have an issue with asking for help now? Because for me, I was so independent that, and this is for a number of other reasons as well, but I don't ask for help now. I just presume that no one's going to help, so I don't ask. And I just do things on my own because I'm like, I'm the only person that I can count on, you know?
I think I'm
sure my mom would be devastated to hear that, but
there's the expression, no one's coming to save you. And I love it, despite how dark it is. There's no one that's going to magically enter your life and wave a wand and go, your problems no longer exist. However, we all have tons of people in our lives who want to help us and who we might feel frustrated that they're not actively offering help. But maybe it's because we're doing such a good job masking what's wrong. And because of like what you said, you don't want to seem like a burden. You don't want to seem like a problem. When I had cancer, there wasn't really an option to do that. And at the beginning I was like, well, I'm still gonna, and I did work through the entire thing. Yeah. Maybe wouldn't have done that. Worked from home. I built a studio in the basement. We had a piece of technology that would allow us to, the fucking internet, what? But it was a special box that would like send the audio feed from my house 50 kilometers away to the studio downtown and then back. So there was a bit of a delay, but I worked from home the whole time. Wow. And my parents lived 4 hours away at the time. My dad would drive to Oshawa, pick me up, and then drive me to chemo appointments. And then would take my daughter for the rest of the week. So I could just like still work and try to recover.
Wow.
And as much as they're not taking her for a week every 3 weeks anymore, I have no qualms whatsoever about my parents take Nia every Wednesday or Thursday night because Dominique, that's one of her 2 days in the city, and she stays late that night. Pick up Nia. She stays over at my parents' place, and then my parents drop her off at daycare the next morning. Very needed. I have no issue whatsoever. I think some people have kids and then just farm them out to your parents and are just like, well, I guess that's it for me.
Right.
Maybe that's like, you don't necessarily like spending time with your kids, which, hey, we've all been there, but ask for help when you need it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dominique has had difficulty in the past asking me for help because of a presumption of weakness, maybe. Also, like, you don't want to, how do I even say this? I think women in general are viewed as weak by society or weaker. And so, and also like as a Black woman, needing to seem in her own experience, not being able to rely on people historically. And so that's something that we would talk about it on the podcast as well. Something that we really work towards together or have been working on is me actively creating the space for her to feel comfortable asking me for things, being kind of softer, not needing to do everything herself.
Right. Feeling
Feeling comfortable asking me if I can handle something, if I can be there for her more emotionally, for instance.
Right.
And I say, shut the fuck up.
This
No,
is
thank you.
Your job.
Didn't sign up for this.
When you found out that you had cancer, were you kind
Best
of...
day of my fucking life. I got a free Nintendo Switch out of it.
Did you?
Yeah, my friends pulled together and got me that. And like,
Wow.
And like $1,600 worth of grocery gift cards.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Those are good friends.
Shout out my friend Britt, who put the gift card thing together. That was from coworkers. That was also my friend who got me on a Vyvanse. And Meredith, my former co-host, was the one who got the Switch together. And again, like talking about asking people for help. That was one person that, I mean, we spoke every single day and just one of my favorite people on earth, someone that I trust without condition and just like, that woman's the greatest. She would just come over and drop off stuff and wouldn't even want to like bother us with like ringing the doorbell. And so would drop stuff off and like text as she's leaving and say like, hey, I dropped you off something. Put it in the fridge when you get a sec or whatever.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Those are two people who were just always there for me.
Right.
Yeah. And was it October 2020 you started chemo?
Yeah, so I found out it was all through 2020 and like I found a lump on my neck. I saw the scar tissue here and Mare and I would joke that they were crazy bones because we both have very dark senses of humor.
God, crazy
Like,
bones.
oh, they're crazy bones. That random toy from the late 90s.
It's a deep cut.
It was
great.
Pogs, Pokemon cards, and then Crazy Bones,
Yeah.
and then Yu-Gi-Oh! And Beyblades.
Yep. Oh my God, Beyblades. Yep.
Let them rip, right?
Let 'em
Come
rip,
on.
honestly.
Yeah.
Too violent for my household. My mom wouldn't let that in there. We also couldn't watch Power Rangers. It was a whole thing.
Oh no.
But sorry, remind me of the question.
Well, I was just asking.
Oh, when I discovered I had chemo, or
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I started chemo.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the lumps, and it's like COVID, and we have a newborn, and we're also moving, and I'm like, maybe it's stress. I don't know. And my family doctor's refusing to take patients. A lot were at the time.
Yeah.
And would just say like, get a biopsy or get an ultrasound, get another ultrasound. I don't know. It could be something else. Referred me to a bunch of other people. September of that year rolled around. I had like multiple lumps and they were on both sides of my neck. And then I got the diagnosis in September and started chemo about a month later. But originally they were like, hey, so we can fit you in for chemo in like 5 weeks. And I was like, the fuck?
Wow.
No. We will be moving me up.
Yeah.
But because it was the easy cancer, it was Hodgkin's, which like 90% of people, 4 rounds of frontline treatment, it's called ABVD, knocks it out. You're done forever.
Wow, incredible.
The 10% has entered the chat.
No.
Yeah. So they had to switch me after 2 rounds of ABVD. Wasn't working as fast as it should have. Switched me to another one. The worst. I started the second kind of regimen, lost my hair within 24 hours.
Wow.
Done.
Wow. Oh my God.
Moon face. I put on 10 pounds in a day because of all the goddamn prednisone.
Wow.
Then they're like, hey, we think we got it. And you're going to do radiation anyway. That was always part of the plan.
Yeah.
And then midway through radiation, found another lump. And it was like, for fuck's
Jesus,
sake.
Yeah.
So it's coming back. And then they put me on something called salvage chemo. They really need to rebrand that. They're trying to salvage your life.
Yeah.
So that's an aggressive.
I know.
Yeah.
Maybe call it like bonus round or something like that.
Victory
Come
lap.
on.
Yeah.
The spinoff. That chemo made them grow. Made the
No.
cancer worse.
How
Then
does that even happen?
they're like, listen, we're not running out of options or anything. Not a fun way to start a sentence.
Right.
We're going to have to like try some different stuff that we typically don't. So we've got a clinical trial. It's $25,000 if you want to do it. And I'm like,
Holy fuck.
what are the odds, doc? And they're like, well, listen, we can't guarantee you anything.
Right.
No shit. But you want to roll the dice on this? And I was like, yeah, fuck, I guess. So we got the clinical trial, worked in like 6 weeks.
Wow.
2 rounds of this thing, done. And
Wow.
after you relapse from Hodgkin's, you need to get a stem cell transplant, which is basically like they can take your stem cells or someone else's, they freeze them, then they nuke your fucking body. It's like Oppenheimer. They just, like you're laying in bed. I couldn't swallow my own goddamn spit for 3 days. You're just so sick.
Wow.
They just kill your entire immune system. So like the gut bacteria that we all have right now,
Yeah.
that like could kill you. So you're in a sterile room, couldn't see my kid for 3 weeks.
Wow.
Was only allowed to let like 2 different people come into my, I was going to say hotel room. I did get a double suite at Princess Margaret and at Lake Ridge Health in Oshawa because you're like,
Okay.
you're a little baby, right? You have
Right.
no
Yeah.
immune system. They
Right.
can't have someone in there hacking up a lung.
Yeah.
They had COVID patients on the same floor at Lake Ridge. I was like, what are we
Holy
fucking doing here?
Fuck.
So you're in isolation or whatever, and then they give you back your stem cells. And so the reason I bring that up is this like clinical trial, this drug brentuximab, it's immunotherapy. I'm actually like, I'm I think speaking at this company in a couple of January. They're like, hey,
Wow.
it worked. Can you come
This
share
is
your
the one that,
experience?
this is the clinical trial.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Like a miracle drug. It's
Yeah.
immunotherapy. It's not nearly as bad as chemo.
Wow.
You don't lose your hair. There's none of that shit. You don't really get nauseous. The one side effect, though, and it affects almost everyone, and almost no one can finish this drug, is the neuropathy. Like I still only have maybe 30% feeling in my fingers and toes. It's wild. So when I draw a bath for my daughter, I have to check the water with like my elbow or like, my forearm or something because I can't really feel my hands and feet. but still alive.
Yeah.
So, and it kind of feels like someone else is jerking me off. That's a selling point, by the way. They should call the drug the stranger, because that's what it feels like, right? And then this drug, so
Or
it's,
in Max's case, the friend.
exactly, the friend, my best friend. So this drug it's paid for by the Ontario government for 16 rounds after your transplant because it prevents a further relapse. And if you relapse after a stem cell transplant, fucking we are running out of options at that point.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they don't cover it beforehand, even though it works so well. So hopefully this will inspire OHIP to like fucking cough up a couple of bucks for this.
Seriously.
But I couldn't finish all 16 rounds after the transplant because it was just like I couldn't move my fingers and toes at one point.
Yeah.
And so they
Wow.
reduce your dose. They let you take a break. But like miracle.
Wow.
Wow.
The thing saved my life.
Holy
And
fuck.
this drug has only been around for like 15 years.
Wow.
So I think about that sometimes too.
Yeah.
Like, what if I was diagnosed 20 years ago? Would
Yeah.
I? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Holy fuck.
Maybe I wouldn't have to be making mortgage payments. You know what I mean? My wife would have to make those payments. But
Yeah,
life
she would.
insurance,
She
$1 million
would.
bucks. You're welcome.
So, what was the day that you found out that it was actually gone from your body?
God, that was so my transplant was August 18th, 2021. And they call that like that's your new birthday. So I'm technically only 2. 2.5.
Wow, younger
go.
than Nia.
Wild that like more time has gone on since the transplant than precipitated the transplant, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
When did I find out I was finally cancer free? So they give you a scan 3 months after your 100-day scan. They give you the scan 100 days after your transplant. It looked like there might still be something, but it wasn't anything where they're like, it's clearly back, we need to biopsy. It was just like, it's flu season. It might be something, and we'll just keep scanning it every 3 months. So now I only have to have a scan every year, and it's coming up, and I'm very fucking nervous.
Wow.
But
you
the
don't feel
day that-
anything different right
Just
now.
scar
so-
tissue, but
Okay.
I feel fine.
Okay, great.
The day that I found out that like I could get the stem cell transplant was like August 10th, maybe. And I just remember like I read the scan and just like I'm getting emotional now thinking about it. Just like wept.
Yeah.
Tears of happiness.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a big day. And then we went out to the keg for dinner. And shout out to Jason at the keg at the Oshawa Center. I wanted a ribeye. Or no, I wanted prime rib, and they didn't have prime rib that night. And he comes over and he goes, I hear you're celebrating something kind of special today. And I was like, yeah, I don't have cancer anymore. He's like, we don't have any prime rib. I know you really wanted that. You came here. We appreciate it. Whatever you want on the menu tonight is on us.
Shout
That's
out to
incredible. Incredible. Was it Dom who told them, or did you guys?
No, they
casually
came
tell the
over and they were
server?
like celebrating anything fun. And I'm like, I'd like a free slice of Billy Miner pie.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that trick.
Yeah.
She's like, is it your birthday? I'm like, kind of. Don't have
Kind
cancer
of.
anymore. And then she started crying. And I'm like, don't fucking, I'm going to start fucking crying. You can't cry. I'm going to cry. Only one of us can cry.
Billy Miner
Wow.
pie is quite something.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Wow.
So
that's
like August
incredible.
of 2020. And it was just like it was just a rough, spoiler alert, rough year,
Yeah.
cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just nice to have that in the rear view. And there will still be like a scan every year for the next couple of years. But it's wild to every time I see, because I've got 2 oncologists, a popular guy,
Mr.
one in the
Hollywood.
city and one in Oshawa. And like the time between every time I go and see them, they're like, all right, we'll see every 4 months this time. And next year it's every 6. And then eventually it's once a year.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
eventually it's fucking later loser.
Yeah.
That's it.
To bring it to work, actually, when did you tell your work immediately that you're like, okay, I'm good?
I was
and then
so embarrassed. And I was also
Really?
like, it was COVID. And I was like, they're firing, like, not my company, shout out current company. Lots of companies were firing people. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck, what's going to happen here? And then, because you're not rational.
Right.
And you're like, we've been in the pandemic for a while. And like, I'm working from home and I'm not as present in the office. And like,
Yeah.
do I kind of become unseen? But I'm then forgetting that, like, dude, you're on a drive show in Toronto. Like, no, it's pretty obvious when you're at work and when you're not.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I would schedule chemo for 7:30 a.m. This chemo, depending on what you're on, takes different times. Brentuximab, 30 minutes in and out. ABVD, the first stuff, it's like 4.5 hours.
Wow.
You're in there forever. So I'd make a reservation for 7:30, first chair, first table, and then I would like prep for my show.
Yeah.
Get home for whatever time. My dad would drive me home, and then I would be on air at 2 at the time, and then
Wow.
just did the show. One of the wildest days for me, and I can't remember, I might have gotten chemo on this day, was the insurrection.
Oh, January 6th.
Shout out to all my patriots out there.
Yeah.
Hold the line. Rigged election. was I think I chemo that day or maybe the day before, and I just like felt like shit. And I've got CP24 on, and that's because it's just every radio and TV studio in the world has. You've worked in radio, you know. CP24 is always playing.
CP24.
And then I'm like, oh fuck it, why they got the White House on there? And so like after 20 minutes of going like, oh, this looks serious, I flipped over to CNN, and we're doing the show, and I'm like, this is the show today. Like I'm just telling people what we're watching on CNN.
Yeah.
And then at one point it was like, holy fuck, they're like scaling the Capitol building. Oh, what's going on? It was like this rush of people.
Wow.
Allegedly and apparently, because we all know it was a scam by the lamestream media. And the calls we got were we had to stop taking calls. And we are a very call and text and interaction heavy show. We do an hour of open phones every day. We just stopped taking calls because people are like, you should fucking kill yourselves. And this isn't an insurrection. It's barely a riot. Trump's the legitimate president. And
Oh my God.
Finally, someone talking some sense, you know? You edit this, so it's just like 4 minutes of me being like, Trump's the greatest.
Yeah. Like my dad, huge Trump fan. That's where I got
Passed
it.
to me.
Yeah.
Some clip about like parents inspiring their kids to do the right thing.
Yeah. Was your work always flexible though? When you told them that you were sick?
100%. I ran out of sick days and my boss was like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Wow.
What am I going to fucking dock you a vacation day? And also like, where are you going on vacation, bro?
Yeah.
Take as much time as you need. And then I was on short-term disability I took 4 months off for my stem cell transplant and recovery. Really glad I did that.
Yeah.
And so I was off for about 4 months, but it was nice to have like, you talk about benefits, like to still get a paycheck, to still have job security, right?
Yeah.
And then the patience of me eventually coming back, the patience for me to be like, because at the time I was like, oh, I'm ready to go. And then you're not realizing that like my word recall wasn't great.
Right.
Because you've just been like fucking nuked with high dose chemotherapy.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just forgetting things and I have no energy. And it took me I remember Meredith saying, my old co-host saying this to me, the day that like, I just said something really like clever in a meeting we had. She's like, he's fucking back, baby. And I was like, yeah, crushing it. How shitty was I for the last 3 months? And she's like, let's not talk about it. But it takes a long time like, I'd say it was probably a year before I was physically feeling better. And then even stuff like, I felt really embarrassed about this. My hormones crashed after my stem cell transplant, understandably.
Of course.
And I just felt tired all the time. And I said to my oncologist about a year and a half after my transplant, I feel so tired all the time. Is this just like, is this going to be forever? And he goes, well, you shouldn't feel that tired. And so we ran a hormone panel and I had the testosterone of like a 90-year-old woman. And so, And so I started on testosterone at the beginning of this year. It's been 12 months and I feel between that and the Vyvanse, brand new.
Wow.
I feel like I could rip a fucking building in half. And I'm yelling at my wife more.
Your like veins are popping out of your head.
The body acne is real. So you just have to start using like your CeraVe foam wash on your back and shoulders, which I do. And none of it anymore. But like really taking care of yourself, really advocating for yourself, really making sure that you're asking questions and you feel annoying sometimes and you have to be. And also, I think bringing this back to like teaching your kids empathy, there are people who are going through cancer treatment, most people that are getting cancer treatment that are like 60 to 80 years old. Some of them don't speak English as a first language. Those were the only people that had guests with them, unless they were lying about needing a translator, which maybe I should have done.
Is there any other language you can speak?
I barely speak English, but advocating for yourself. And that's not just when it comes to your health. That's to bring it back to this podcast. That's advocating for yourself at work. Will it always work out? No, not necessarily. But to quote Michael Scott, quoting Wayne Gretzky, to bring it back to the office. See, we're tying it all up, folks.
We really are.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So like if you might not get that promotion if you ask for it, but you can guarantee you're not going to get it if you don't ask for it. You might not get X if you don't collect all of your results. Like you were talking about getting a new job. You might not get a job if you collect all your results and put it together in a pitch or whatever, but you can guarantee you're not going to get that if you don't put in any work.
Right. Yeah.
So like advocating for my health, advocating for myself, advocating for my child at daycare when she gets fucking mauled basically by another kid. Come on.
By the same
On the face.
Yeah.
On the face.
By the third time, I'm like, I think there's a pattern here. When you're trapped maybe in a job that you don't like so much. That job is not you. That's not like you are a fully formed human being, hopefully. What makes you happy? What about your job makes you happy? Try and do those things. It's like the expression, if you do what you love, if you monetize what you love, you'll fucking hate it eventually because all of the joy gets sucked out of it. But like me starting a podcast with my wife, and we've been running a business together for 5 years doing creative services.
Yeah.
I've been taking on some new clients recently, which has been really gratifying. Getting back into like pitching again, getting back into like building a studio in my basement has been a ton of fun and money. Thank you, line of credit. Hopefully they can just cancel that one day.
I have no notes. I have nothing to say in response to that.
We really did a lot.
Yeah.
These 15-part episodes we
I
just
know.
did.
I'm
but-
gonna be like, this is.
I think the best.
yeah,
way,
the
I think the
quiz.
best way to close
the last
it off,
question, yeah.
There's only 3 questions left.
All right.
This is the longest quiz in existence.
All right, so only
And then
2
I
more
think
hours.
and then I think we'll call it. But here it is. How long does it take you to get over an argument? A few minutes, a few hours, or a few days?
Used to be I'd say it used to be a few days, a few weeks. Knowing that in any situation, we all think we're the protagonists, right?
Yes.
We all think that like it's this binary, I'm right or wrong. This person's right or wrong.
Yeah.
Even if you're only responsible for, let's say, 10% of an argument, which let's be honest, is probably fucking closer to 50-50.
Yeah.
You might have to be the one that says to the other person, like, hey, I'm sorry for what I've done, and apologize unconditionally. It's not like, I'm sorry if I made you feel like this. I'm sorry if I did that. Sometimes you might be the person in that relationship who initiates the apologizing 51% of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Or 60% of the time. And that's just kind of the way it is. But like, if you're going to apologize, if you expect someone else to apologize to you unreservedly, you sometimes have to like treat them the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So getting over what would an argument for my wife and I, it always comes down to the same thing. We're not communicating properly.
Yeah.
Right.
And so like, if you're then going to have an argument about the argument and not communicate in that argument, you're just fucking, you're creating a larger argument.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So our kind of rule is, it's a reference to the show Insecure. They would say Malibu whenever they wanted the other person to be honest about something. Because we all do this like, no, nothing's wrong. So if we say Malibu, there's no fucking ifs, ands, or buts. Malibu, what's going on? And then you have to like, oh, fuck, it's this. And sometimes it's not even about you.
Yeah.
So I try not to use Malibu very much. But if I say sorry for something and she accepts my apology, that's the end of it. There's no bringing this up in 2 months. There's no, remember when you, like, there's no double jeopardy. And same with my wife. If she apologizes and I say, that's it. Like, let's move on.
Yeah.
Fighting the problem together instead of fighting each other.
Right.
Yeah.
If we could all do that a little bit more, whose side am I really on? Is it me versus my partner, me versus my child, or is it me and my child, me and my partner versus whatever
problem.
fucking thing is going on?
Yeah,
No, exactly.
absolutely.
So would you go with a few hours, few minutes, few days? Which one sounds most accurate to you in this moment?
When we finally have a conversation, like, and we apologize, like it's over. I wouldn't even say it's minutes. If we don't talk
That's
about
incredible.
it, you're just stewing.
Yeah.
Fair.
But sometimes you don't have the capacity in that moment to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm guilty of that sometimes, going like, I really want to talk about this. And I'll do everything short of Malibu.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it's like, well, this isn't, clearly you do not have the ability right now to have like a fair argument or a conversation, or
Yeah.
maybe I don't have that right now.
Yep.
Maybe I need pizza. Maybe I need basement pizza.
Yeah.
Basement Pizza, a memoir by Kolter Bouchard.
Second last question.
That'd be an excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
It
Memoir.
would be. It
On
would be.
shelves this fall.
Yeah.
How well do you handle stress? Very well, decently, or not well?
Oh, thanks to that vitamin V, baby. I've always been good in stressful situations. And I think like a perfect example is me getting the call. And I knew the call was happening that morning. And it was the first time in fucking history a doctor was ever early for an appointment.
Wow.
We went for a walk beforehand, and I get the call like 5 houses away from mine. And I've got him on speakerphone, and I'm just asking questions. Okay, we've detected Hodgkin's. It's likely stage 2. We've got to send you in for scanning. And then I'm just like, okay, what does this mean for this? When do we start treatment? What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean?
Yeah.
And then I went upstairs and howled at the fucking ceiling. And then I was like, all right, well, what's the plan here?
Yeah.
So I'm the one in my family and my wife's family, like collectively, if something goes wrong, I can put everything else aside and go, okay, what's in front of us right now? I'm good at compartmentalizing.
I think that's a great skill to have.
And it's something that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
But like you worrying about 7 other things, like, no, what is the fire?
Yeah.
And how do we put out this fire? Not
Yeah.
what else is the fire going to burn? What is the step that you need to do first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen Frozen 2.
I've only seen Frozen 1.
Okay. Oh my God. Well, Frozen 2 is.
I've heard it's better.
It is. It
Whoa.
is. In my opinion,
Okay.
I know it's
Hot
kind
take.
of,
It's like The
kind of a
Godfather
hot
2.
take.
Sometimes the sequel is better.
Yeah, but
Fair.
you should definitely watch it anyway. There's a song in it.
I'm sure there's several.
about her talking. I won't spoil anything for you.
It's okay, please. You can spoil it.
It's at the climax of the movie. She's like in the depths of Earth, basically, in like this cave, and she just talks about taking the next right step. It's not about being worried about this daunting task where she gets to get out of the cave. It's just the next right step. And I feel like that's a really great overarching MO.
We would break shit down in chunks. Cancer treatment, it's like, what's the next chunk? Okay, well, 3 more rounds of chemo. And then the next chunk is, we got a scan. And then the next chunk is, and the chunks were a lot smaller at the beginning because it was like, all right, the first chunk is fucking the call from your doctor.
Yeah.
The next chunk is you got to go to the chemo. And now the chunks are like, that's a year. You just got to go for your scan.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Did you find yourself having to parse through other people's emotional responses to hearing that news where they're worried for you and you're like, I can't have you in my ear right now. I need to figure this out on my own.
I had more of an issue of people not wanting to. I had some people that I thought we were really close that just ghosted.
No.
And as pissed off as I was at the time, I've realized in hindsight, and one person in particular, we had a conversation about it afterwards, and he said, I'm sorry. And I said, yeah, like that really hurt.
Yeah.
And not trying to fucking put salt in the wound, but like, I want to explain to you why that hurt me.
Yeah.
And what I have realized years later is people are very shitty at dealing with trauma.
Yeah.
People are very shitty about, people that were still in my life would never like tell me what problems they were going through at the time. And I've had people even in years since say like, I was in a conversation with this guy that I'm kind of mentoring in radio. And he was saying this kind of really hard thing that his family's going through right now. And he said, I shouldn't even be bringing this up based on what you've been through. And I told him the same thing, which was someone else's pain does not negate yours.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I mean, let's have some fucking tact. If someone has just lost an arm, maybe we don't complain about like, oh, fucking traffic was rough today.
Yeah.
But like, if you've got a relationship with this person and you're just shooting the shit about whatever, don't like not talk about how you just went through a breakup because you're like, well, this person just got a fucking amputation. Like, you don't have to handle us with kid gloves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
One question I hate, and I talk about this every opportunity I can, is what can I do for you? Let me know what I can do. And it's like, no. I don't want to have to think about that because I'm not even thinking about that.
Right.
I'm thinking about like, what's the next chunk?
Yeah.
If you would love to do something for me, I'd love to have it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Hey.
It doesn't even matter. Don't overthink it. It doesn't have to be right.
100%. People who go like, let me know if you need me to do groceries for you. You could just say like, hey, I'm going to do a grocery shop today. I'm going to get these things. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And then I can say yes or no.
Right.
Hey, I'm doing a grocery shop this week. I have availability on Tuesday or Thursday. What works better for you? That's the only qualifying question you should be really be asking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally.
To your question about like navigating other people's pain. Like, yeah, like when I said I howled at the ceiling, I didn't cry until I had spoken to my mom on the phone.
Right.
And said like, hey, like, it's cancer. And I had assumed it was because I'm a worrier and I just assumed it was.
For sure.
And then I said to her, like, I got to hang out. I can't talk to you right now. This is the news. I'll talk to you later. Or Dominique will call you or something like that. But I can't.
Yeah.
So like anticipating my mom's pain, anticipating my dad's pain.
Yeah. What a journey.
Yeah.
What a journey.
I think we got one more.
I think we got one
Well,
more.
to be honest, I think I knew what the answer was, so I put in the
Oh,
answer
no.
for you. But
What
the
was
question
it?
was, do you tell your family that you love them? And it was a yes or
No.
no question.
Fuck those idiots.
Oh, okay, I put no in. Yeah, I put no in.
No, you need to tell your people, and not even family members. Tell your friends you love them.
I
Tell
try,
people
I
you
try
love
to do
people.
that very
Yeah.
often.
Yeah. I mean, haven't heard it once from you today, but okay.
I've been
I just
thinking it
met
this
you
whole
and I
time.
love you.
Thank you very much.
I love you too.
You've been on my show before.
I know.
Wow.
I'm going to be on it again,
Max.
literally. No, but it's funny. I actually want to mention a quick story before I tell you the results of if you're a good father or not, because the results are in. I feel like I'm Maury Povich right now.
Yeah.
And it turns out I'm just not the father.
Well, I was at a friend's birthday party recently. He was turning 30, and he doesn't like being the center of attention. But we had a cake. He blows out the candles, and everyone starts going, speech, speech, speech.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, oh, God. And he's just kind of looking around the room, and I'm like, I feel like we should just kind of all go back to doing our thing.
Yeah.
I feel like he
Yeah.
might not be enjoying this situation
Did
right
he get
now.
out there and kill it?
Well, so he's standing there, and the room just goes quiet.
Oh,
and we're all
no.
staring, and I'm like, he either needs to say something, or we just gotta let
Yeah.
the moment, do its thing. And he goes, He goes, everyone, my therapist told me to take this moment in, so I'm just taking it.
Whoa.
And I was like, okay. I was like, where are we going now? And he's like, I just want to say being 30 it's a very important milestone in my life.
Sure.
And everybody who's in this room with me right now has helped me in ways that you can't even possibly imagine. And as a 30-year-old, we're all aging, which is a beautiful thing. But I think what we need to be more aware of is our mental health. And I think we need to be more open about that and share it with our friends and people who we hold close to us, because that's what we're all here for, is to help each other.
And if you look in your loot bag, you've all got a sample of Vyvanse.
Best loot bag ever. But he said, he's like, there's people in this room here right now that have opened my eyes to the world of therapy and just being open about my mental health. And he started choking up, and I wanted to cry just watching him.
You
little
have
bitch.
this thing. I've never seen him have a reaction like this. It was just a really beautiful thing. And he basically said, he's like, I just want to thank you all for being here, because you've made my life so much better. And the fact that I could be as open as I can with everyone in this room right now is something I never thought I'd be able to do. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa.
Taking in moments, and I hosted a couple of fundraisers in September or October. What is time? And I had said that, because one of them was for the Lake Ridge Hospital and Oshawa Foundation.
Right.
And I'm on stage in front of all these people, and I'm telling the story, and I just said, like, hey, just give me a second. And like, as I'm kind of speaking, just like taking it in. And it was like all these people have just like, they'd raised $20 million for a PET scanner, and which doesn't scan pets. Maybe it could, but it's like for cancy babies like me.
Right.
It was just like, enjoy those moments, because they go so quickly.
Yeah.
Right?
They really do.
Absolutely.
Moments with your friends. I try to take pictures anytime I'm with a friend, so I hope you'll indulge me after this. I know the entire thing's on fucking video, but I think it's really important to like, and guys are especially brutal at this.
Yeah.
Take a fucking picture with your buddy.
Yeah.
You don't know how many times you're going to see them as you get older, and like shit doesn't align all the time, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person,
Yeah.
I will call my friends. I don't like to text. I don't mind texting. I'm a caller.
Can confirm.
I'm a caller.
Yeah.
You've only ever texted me.
I just don't want to bother you.
Well, fuck this.
You got things going on. If you want me to call you, Kolter, I will call
Please.
you whenever.
I want a wake-up call every morning.
We'll make it happen.
Get your fucking ass out of bed, loser. No one wants to work anymore.
Wake the fuck
Good
up.
morning, sunshine.
Well, Kolter, the results are in. You are a great father.
Whoa.
So it says here, you are
been a long time
you are the
coming.
best father anyone could have. Your children are
Damn.
very fortunate. You know how to make time for them, balance priorities, and give them things they want and need without spoiling them. You know how to ingrain values without being overbearing, and you know what? You're loved for it.
Wow.
Shit.
Wow.
So I think it's safe to say you crushed it.
Yeah.
If I've got an A+ now, that means I can be like a C- dad for a couple of years,
Yes,
and I'll
there you
average
go.
out to a B.
B.
Exactly. Exactly.
These
So
are
take-
okay.
Take that as you will.
Yeah.
Kolter, thank you so much for
Oh,
joining
thank
us.
you for
This
having
has
me.
been
Thank
it's
you
a
so
historic
much.
moment, unhistoric moment, because I remember it's not a historic moment, it's
It's a-
unhistoric.
But it starts with an
Historic
H, and an H
moment.
is not a vowel. I have an English minor from Ryerson University, which doesn't even exist anymore. But
TMU, baby. TMU. You've been part of this historic moment. You are the first guest on our podcast.
Yeah.
And
Damn.
honestly, I'm sure I can speak on behalf of G when I say it's been a blast having you.
well,
This has been so much fun.
hopefully
about
we can
bringing up
return
the
to
group.
round two.
Bringing
for
up the
round two.
group average, it's like you're now the leader. It's like everyone else would be bringing it down. I feel
Yeah.
like the group average is
I also
now
need
at
that
a-
in writing. Put that on the fucking wall so they all know when they come in here.
What I want you to do to give you the hot ones treatment, look at this camera here, plug whatever you need. What's going on in your life?
I mean, I've already got a plug inside of me. I've worked up to a medium. Playing house, podcast I do with my wife is on YouTube. Kolter Talks at Kolter Talks, Kolter with a K across all platforms, TikTok, fucking YouTube, everything. You can also just send me money. That's great. I'll give you my physical address if you send me money. Please send me money. But yes, so I'm really trying to get the YouTube going. And we hit 500,000 on TikTok last month, which was pretty
Holy
fucking
fuck.
cool.
That's
And I think you're about to beat me.
Wow.
No, I'm almost at 450,000, so I still got a bit of a way to go.
I got like 10, not even 10K on Instagram. You got like 380,000 or whatever. I'm like, you can't even fucking give me TikTok, eh? You son of a bitch. Fuck.
You will get to Instagram.
Farbsy dies on this episode.
You'll get to Instagram in no time. I have a good feeling.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
if you'd like
for
to start
sure.
posting content on my page for me,
I'll make
Not
it
on
happen.
company time, though. I swear to God.
No, lunch breaks only.
Shareholders.
Lunch breaks only. But Kolter, thank you so much.
Thank
for being
you
here
both
with
for
us.
having
This
me. I
has been
really
so much
appreciate it.
fun.
Thank you.
If you have any work stuff that you want to send to us, you can email us thankyoukindlypodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram @thankyoukindlypodcast. How many times can I say thank you kindly podcast in one sentence? I think that was 2 so far. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we will see you next time. Thank you kindly
Thank you
for
kindly.
watching.
And get back to work. Nobody wants to work anymore.
Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.